Welcome to episode 22 of ComposerScape. That's right, 2 weeks in a row. We are here. Boy, if we would have been younger, we probably would have recorded this episode Wednesday night at 11 p.m. after we finally watched that episode, because I believe Phase 4 is now officially in session.
I'm still trying to figure out if I'm a variant or not, because I think I am.
Isn't the official Marvel
where did
Earth
it all go so
in
wrong?
the comic books? It's like 616 or something.
Number 616.
Yeah.
616.
Well,
that's correct.
we are in Earth 1, Earth Prime, so no, we're not variants. The rest of the universe is Multiverse.
Okay.
But yes, we will
enough.
get to that, but there's a couple quick things that we're excited about, or I'm excited about, maybe Scott's excited about. We'll judge by his facial expressions. First off, the one I didn't mention before we started recording is they dropped some Dune character posters. We finally get to see Baron Harkonnen, a good shot of Duncan, Lady Jessica, Leto, and Paul.
Yeah, I've not seen these yet.
Look these up. You're actually probably seeing them right now. So if Scott, if you decide to watch this episode after it's cut and put together, you're seeing them. They're right here. Here are the images. They're beautiful. And that is in anticipation of, if you happen to go to an IMAX movie this weekend, you will get a little preview of some unseen footage from the movie. And I think they released that to everyone online a couple days after that. So we will probably talk about that, because Dune, very anticipated.
So if we're just giving a shout out to anticipated upcoming releases and titles, we did at one point have a neat discussion about the upcoming Green Knight film, and that
literally
is
about to say
imminent, right? We got about a week and a half. Yeah. Very much looking forward to that. That'll be the third movie we've seen in the theater, right? We're going to go to the theater and see it, unless, the world goes to hell again.
Well, you're down there with the well, we can't get political, but yeah, you're down there. Let's just say
Let's not talk about
you
it.
have a lot less people that are being smart down there than we do up here. Yeah.
Okay.
So early reactions for that have been fantastic, about what we expected. So they said Dev Patel is pretty much to die for in it.
Yeah.
So that's great. I was literally just about to bring that one up. And then apparently Andy Muschietti is not very good at closed sets, because some more Flash pictures leaked this week, but I don't think none of it's a spoiler. He said from Fandom last year that Michael Keaton's Batman's going to be in this, the Tim Burton 1989-1992 Batman. And apparently some shots came out. You can Google them if you want. We're not going to show them here, of the Batmobile and the Batcave.
Now, what this is going to make me want to do, and I'm going to throw something in here that might be a little bit of a curveball, but this is definitely going to make me want to watch the Tim Burton, Michael Keaton Batman films, and then I'm going to want to watch Birdman, or The Unexpected Virtue of Ignorance, which was a fantastic movie. For those of you who have not seen that movie, you should go check it out. There's some very dark humor in that, of this once accomplished actor who's kind of lost his way as a professional, trying to hold it together, just as an aging actor who in the film had a history of playing a very popular superhero, and it's sort of haunting him.
Yeah. Well, what's funny about that is right after that,
comedy.
he got cast in Spider-Man: Homecoming. And apparently...
not long after that. That's right.
Apparently he messed with Tom Holland the whole time. During their big fight scene, he kept whispering to Tom Holland. He kept going, "I'm Batman," during the whole fight scene. And it was apparently actually frightening Tom Holland. But, the people are like, Michael Keaton's too old. One, go ahead, log into HBO Max and watch The Dark Knight Returns. Two, watch Michael Keaton play the Vulture in Spider-Man: Homecoming. So that's
and And 3, this is presumably a Flashpoint storyline, and I don't know if we know this or not, but it's possible that Michael Keaton is going to be playing Thomas Wayne.
I think he's still. They said he's still playing Bruce, but his character is a kind of to be a Thomas Wayne type thing. I think they're also going to shed. I think it's going to be based on Flashpoint, kind of like the Flash TV series did. Because Momoa and Godot are not in it. And that's the biggest part of Flashpoint. Sort of merge. You know, there's no war between Atlantis and Themyscira. That would have been
Atlantis. Yeah.
But yeah.
Right. Okay.
I will say this about the Tim Burtons. That was my original Zack Snyder moment. And it has nothing to do with Zack Snyder, but like with the Snyder cut and Warner Brothers interfering and whatever happened. That Warner Brothers told Tim Burton Batman Returns was too dark. It wasn't selling enough toys. They told him to change it. He quit. Michael Keaton went with him, and we lost. And I have seen like what was going to be in Batman 3. Billy D. Williams as Two-Face. Oh, it was Robin Williams as the Riddler. It was going to be ridiculous. So what could have been?
Yeah,
and Warner Brothers is continually meddling. They won't even promise. Dune is only the first half of the book, and there's no guarantee of a sequel. So and Warner Brothers is just But you know what? Here is the antitoxin for that. Let's talk about Loki and Marvel and Kevin Feige and doing everything absolutely correct. We've been waiting for this for almost a week. So unless you have something else. Did I miss anything?
No. I mean, my first most obvious response to the season finale was this bizarre, frustrating combination of, yay, there's a season 2. Oh my God, you jerks. You ended it on a cliffhanger. There's a season 2. That pretty much sums up my reaction to that ending was thinking, oh my God, how dare you? We're going to sit here and wait for a year and a half for season 2. But yes, this is season 2. So really, really bad. So, I mean, let's go ahead and throw out the big things that we noticed, I guess, what you liked and didn't like about the episode. The biggest thing and I need to go back and watch this episode again. I need to watch the whole season again, as a matter of fact.
And WandaVision too. I feel like
there's a lot that happened. There's a lot that happened in the last 10, 15 minutes of this episode. I think the kind of elephant in the corner, the big thing that I noticed as the episode wrapped up was Loki did not return to his timeline.
No.
He did not return to a version of the TVA that belonged to him, not his home universe.
I have a theory about that. Because that I mean, as a multiverse works, he broke that timeline. That timeline could no longer exist. That timeline was a TVA in a world that the TVA didn't exist. So for him to return to the TVA, it had to be somewhere where there was a TVA.
Right. And so, in other words, he didn't actually travel. He didn't travel through time, right? We're going to get old Doctor Who with people. He traveled through space or dimensionally. He didn't travel chronologically. He just traveled to another place. And so, he traveled to another place.
Well, I don't think the TVA is at the end of time.
Kind of new branch.
So he definitely did travel in time. Just we don't know where the TVA is. It's got to be after the 31st
presumably
century.
He attempted to go back to just moments, right, or possibly a span of hours after he got pruned, right, got deleted, got sent into the void, and he comes back, and now he's in a dimension where there are versions of Morbius and the guards who no one knows who he is. Who are you? Which department are you with?
Oh, yeah, so he may not even be supposed to be there. Oh, well, that'll be interesting.
So, everything's flipped sideways.
Yep. Well, they have now opened Pandora's box. I will have to take, as usual, let's put it that we've been talking about the multiverse on this show since we first started recording it. Even since before you joined, Scott, I was talking about it because the multiverse, love or hate the CW shows, and almost all of them started off really high quality, and I can't even look at The Flash anymore. It's gotten so bad, and the only reason people watch it is because it's apparently a bunch of teenagers that are infatuated with Barry Allen and Iris West Allen.
That was me 2 years ago.
Well,
that was me back in season 4.
But it made a bit of a comeback with the Crisis on Infinite Earths crossover, which is the best crossover they've done. That's the end of Oliver Queen.
Okay.
The acting's all brilliant. It's based on one of the most famous stories.
Sure.
And that, when Ezra Miller showed up on screen, is the first, movie multiverse. And then they went ahead and said, at that point, they said that Tim Burton's world and Christopher Reeve's world is actually... Brandon Routh has always been a continuation of the Christopher Reeve universe, so that's him there. All those exist in their multiverse. So before Marvel... And Marvel hasn't done this, but I've seen some bloggers and some news outlets that have Marvel beat DC to the punch. It's well, no, they didn't. Yes, it happened on the CW, but it definitely happened.
These things all happened in the comics.
Oh, yeah, they've been doing the multiverse forever.
Decades ago. Yeah.
So we got that out of the way. So this episode was... There were one... Scott, do you have your tea on you? Because you predicted that. Yes.
Cheers.
Yes. That was...
In case there was any doubt, right? So if I presume you're talking about Kang.
Yes, although he never said the name
fortress
Kang.
there. And so in the scene that I'm mentioning where he goes back... Say that in air quotes again. I can't. My fingers are getting worn out using air quotes here. He goes back to the TVA and sees these statues that maybe they've been there the whole time. Probably not.
No, those were the timekeepers.
Different version of his. Well,
now it's...
If they are the timekeepers, they don't look the same that they did now because he's looking up at it and...
Oh, no, they're not the
It's Kang.
Yeah, right.
He's got this tunic in this circular, I don't know what you call it. He's got his costume.
Yeah.
Classic Kang costume from
He just
the
doesn't have the helmet with the blue light.
The face. Yeah.
The
face plate to the mask.
I've seen some really good artwork of Jonathan Powers as Kang that some of the talented online people have done. I don't think we got a shot. I mean, it's not going to be here as fan art. No, we don't have a shot of this statue. They wouldn't give that away.
And we'll just say this, folks listening, if anyone's still listening to this podcast, have seen the episode, probably seen the show that I'm about to mention. I have not yet. Jess has implored me to stop what I'm doing and drop everything and go watch Lovecraft Country. I knew that I had seen this actor in a couple of things. It might have been White Boy Rick, or The Last Black Man in San Francisco. One of those films we watched streaming in the last year and a half. He was very familiar, but I was I can't put my finger on where I've seen him. Brilliant. Oh my gosh. And for a split second, there's a couple of lines, his delivery of a couple of lines there where you feel is this kind of cheesy intentionally? Is he kind of amping up some camp here? What's happening? And he's just so, I don't know if it's it's a narcissism. He's just so full of himself. He's so, just filled with this kind of omnipotence, right? This kind of omniscience that this character has had for millennia, that he's just kind of beside himself. And we find out that it's all because something unpredictable is about to happen. And he knows that something is about to happen that he can't see. After millennia of knowing exactly what's about to happen. And so he's excited about this. He's like, Christmas Day.
Have you read the God Emperor of Dune?
No.
Well, without being too spoilery, it's descendant of Paul, and he has done something to himself to cause himself to, in essence, be a god. And much like Paul, he can see, and Dr. Manhattan, and apparently Kang, whether or not this is the Conqueror or a different one, he can see the whole timeline, and he's always lamenting wanting to be surprised. So it reminded me a lot of that. And also the same with Dr. Manhattan, except it's impossible to... he does finally get surprised, but that's probably not canon for the comics.
Sure. Right.
But yeah, so this is definitely their Dr. Manhattan type. I don't know anything about his powers except that I saw him, a couple panels of him pretty much killing Thanos once by showing Thanos his entire lifespan.
Yeah, I didn't do any extensive homework on Kang as far as what he can actually do. I've read several of the kind of classic story arcs in the Avengers canon. I've read several Avengers comics that feature Kang. And as you can probably imagine, as he's a character that can just travel through time with impunity.
He's the master.
Period. And, right. And has frequently teamed up with different versions of himself.
Oh.
There are younger versions of Kang. This sort of, Kang the Conqueror, Kang the Scholar, Kang the... Right there, because he's been alive for thousands of years. And so periodically he does, and he has a son, if I'm not mistaken. He actually has children, and some of those, at least one of which, I think his son becomes important. And I'm going to botch that up if I try to delve into the actual comic storyline. But the point is, he's not sort of... To my knowledge, he doesn't have superpowers, but he has access to any and all of the technologies throughout history.
He apparently lives a really long time, too.
Eons and eons. Well, yeah. And I don't know what the source of his immortality is. If that's, in other words, whatever power he wields, I think is mostly based on technology that he has gleaned from various eras of different human history, alien histories, right? So
he reminds me. I don't think he's a bit of a paradox, but to switch over to DC, the Reverse Flash, his whole existence is a paradox because the Reverse Flash can never kill Barry Allen, because if the Reverse Flash kills Barry Allen, he will never figure out how to make that the Speed Force exists and how to make the power. And I wonder. Well, if they're going to throw in any paradoxes like that with Kang. And what I was going to say, when I said that this is not, I don't think that this, who is now dead, this particular variant is the Conqueror. I feel like the Conqueror is going to be a specific Kang, and possibly not even the one that we will see in Ant-Man. Because I don't think that Ant-Man's going to take on a Avengers level villain.
It's this character. I mean, this actor.
Yeah. But it'll be a different variant.
Same guy is going to play him. Jonathan Majors.
And I think he's going to play him different
every
time. I bet you he's going to be like... He's going to throw his chops around on this one. What do you think about this green apple? They kept showing with this green apple, and it seemed to focus on it. No, I don't know what.
I'm not sure what to think about that. The only... when I stopped to actually consider it, which isn't saying much, the only thing I could come up with is that maybe it's a kind of a gag with him. Like it's an icon, and it's a trope, and it's something that they plugged in there. The tree from the fruit of the tree of knowledge, right? That Adam and Eve supposedly ate in the Garden of Eden, right? Maybe. It's a play on that. Maybe it's the actual apple. In some version of history, you went back and like, wait, let me have that. Or maybe there is a literal tree of infinite knowledge, and he just, from time to time, just travels back there and plucks an apple off of it and noshes on it, just to renew his infinite omnipotence. I don't know. That's the only thing I could come up with.
Yeah. So you mentioned some cliffhangers. I was going to ask about that now. Because several characters are left hanging. Kang or he, what was it? What did they call him in the show? I keep wanting to say he who must not be named, but that's not it.
He who remains.
He who remains.
He who was left behind.
So,
he who walks behind.
Let's,
he's a walker from the Dresden First.
So, these two are clear. Are they still our variant? We have, 815 and Mobius. Mobius did not get his jet ski, so I'm glad there's a season 2.
Right.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, if this is the same one, he doesn't seem to be, because he doesn't know Loki. And does that one exist anymore? But that's less. I was going to go back. I should have gone backwards. Yes. Okay. What was her name? Was Ravonna, something like that.
Oh,
she was just like, I got some shit to look into.
Yeah, Renslayer, Chief Renslayer.
Yeah, Renslayer. And she's like, I got some shit to look into. And then first, the little clock thing said, you'll want to see this instead of what you were looking for.
That's right.
And she had that look on her face, and she said, well, I got some shit to take care of. Mobius threatened her, and she was like, no, she's like, I can kick your ass, and she could. And then she goes out through the thing, and that's it. I thought for sure she was going to show up at some point in that end scene, but that was the last time we saw her, rather early in the episode.
I got nothing on that.
Yeah.
I really don't. I mean, it was so cryptic and revealed so little that clearly Miss Minutes is some sort of an algorithm or an AI put in place by Kang, and is working, again with the air quotes, right, working for Kang. And so is this woman just a tool? Is her entire life, she's manipulated?
Well, she was a principal at a high school. The Renslayer.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
All right, let's get.
And so, if the people working at the TVA, again with the air quotes, I'm going to break my fingers. If the people working there are all variants, what happened to their memories?
Well, they would have different memories. They would have the memories of their variant.
Why don't they remember being a high school teacher or a jet ski instructor or a?
Well, because in their universe, the Lokis did not free them. Now those two Loki variants, Sylvie and Loki.
There was a pen in her office from Jefferson High. It was like Thomas Jefferson High School. Or I'm getting it wrong. No,
well, this is before they still remembered everything at this point. Mobius.
She doesn't remember being a high school teacher.
Well, no, she doesn't.
And at one point, Mobius is in her office and finds a ballpoint pen from the high school where she taught, and says, did you get a new trophy? Is it a little new keepsake or something? And she doesn't really respond to it.
Maybe she always had her memories and just is lying. And likes being.
Why doesn't Mobius remember? None of them remember.
I don't know.
Their lives before the TVA. So, yeah.
I liked how they had to convince some of the random agents that they were variants by showing them her at her work. It's like, wait, just look. But I got to say, the biggest question, I mean, Loki, it's kind of obvious. It's the classic case of he's kind of back to square one. No one knows him, except now they don't know he's a variant either, or everything's a variant and variants don't matter, and they're doing something different now. But so Loki is not a mystery. I do think it's clever. One, because since Robert Downey Jr. Left the Marvel Universe and is done, let's be real, Tom Hiddleston is arguably the most popular actor in the entire universe. I mean, the Marvel Universe, not the universe. But let's just put it this way. He's died twice, and both times the fans have been like, no, so they brought him back. I think he's at this point become death-proof. But also, now they've trapped him in some pocket universe, multi-universe situation, so they'll always have an explanation for why Loki doesn't show up in a Thor movie, even though Loki's alive. So now the multiverse kind of like, well, look, we can have Loki if we want him now, but if we don't, we have a raid, we can say he's not there.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's just the problem with the multiverse. It's a Deus Ex Machina, right? You can introduce anything. You bring Tony Stark back, right? Not that the actor's going to, but you could bring another actor in.
That's true.
To be
I heard
whoever you
want.
Do, which
the girl Iron person? What was she called?
Ironheart.
Yeah, she's going to be in.
Ironheart.
I can't remember. She's going to be in something. I don't know if it's
probably
She-Hulk.
One of the Disney Plus shows.
I don't know if it's She-Hulk.
Well, one of the Disney Plus shows, as best as I can tell, are building towards a Young Avengers.
Yeah, they asked
show.
They asked Ashley Olsen about that, and she was coy about it, so we don't know. She's like, you know what? I don't know, and she said, I don't think Kevin Feige knows. I think they always just what they do is they plant seeds.
That's her name.
They plant seeds, and then if they want to do it, they already have the seed planted.
Well, we know that there's an actress that's going to play America Chavez in
Doctor Strange.
Is it the Marvels or it's Multiverse? Doctor Strange in the Multiverse. And we know we're getting Kamala Khan is going to play Miss Marvel in the Marvels film.
And she's got her own show.
And so, again, we got Multiverse opening up here. It's doors wide open to bring a Miles Morales version of Spider-Man in.
Let's see. What I don't know is Marvel ever going to have to do? And I don't even know if they've done something like this in the comics. In DC, always their multiverse will get out of control. There's literally multiple storylines in the different Batman comics. They're like, we have to do something. Crisis on Infinite Earths, and then there was another crisis. And it's like, bring them together, explode them out a little bit, bring them back together a bit. We got to keep because people do want to be able to pick up Superman and Batman and at least be able to tell themselves there
is a spectacular irony to what you just said, which is you're basically describing not the plot so much, but all of Kang's motivations in this show. And in a nutshell, right? Kang's just, if you just let it go, you just open all this up without keeping the timeline under control, then anything is possible, presuming the technology to cross the dimensional barrier exists, and it does, because this is what the TVA has it in a cell phone, presumably.
Right.
This little
pad.
BlackBerry or whatever they're using, the temp pad, is this little device the size of a cell phone that allows you to cross dimensional barriers and travel through time. Right? Obviously, Kang's got some medallion, that thing on his wrist, that's the same technology. So the point I was going to make is this can easily get out of control. I called it a Deus Ex Machina, but what you really get is nothing is permanent and nothing matters.
How
right? And this is a concept that has been played with by science fiction authors for decades, that if you get a parallel worlds setting, then Larry Niven wrote a really famous short story about this. For people that are really into sci-fi, you can go back and just Google Larry Niven, what to do about chocolate manhole covers. I'm pretty sure the title was something like that. It's like Much Ado or something about chocolate manhole covers. And that's exactly what the story is about. If you have a true multiverse, parallel infinite worlds, nothing matters. None of your decisions matter, because for every decision, every possible outcome exists.
Right, except if there happens to be a big bad villain who is able to exist either in their own universe, manipulate it.
Yeah.
And I think that's why in Zack Snyder Justice League, he moved Planet Apocalypse from just being a planet in our universe to saying that Darkseid came from his own place from somewhere else in the multiverse. So Darkseid is a threat to the multiverse, not the universe.
Gotcha.
And that's why Thanos, say, Thanos isn't. But now there's, because one, Thanos can't, even if Thanos could cross, he runs into the Infinity Stone problem. So, yeah, Kang is definitely an Avengers level threat. The question is how much do they want to... I mean, Is it an infinite multiverse, though? See, I've always gotten the feeling that DC and Marvel tend to cap the number of worlds to some number of worlds. It's never infinite. Whereas in real life, it probably, if there is such a thing, it probably is. I know for DC for a while, they had 52 worlds, for instance.
Yeah. Well,
and that solves that problem. Because then if something bad, for instance, with the Crisis, the Anti-Monitor was going to destroy the multiverse one universe at a time. Mm-hmm. Which would be impossible if there was infinite universes.
And we're back.
This is Bug. Love Bug, Bugbear. She's our special guest. She's also excited about that multiverse. Now, if I put her down and she starts wrestling with her brother, this episode's going to be even shorter than I thought. Okay, so anyway, we were talking about the limit to the number of worlds in the multiverse in comics and how that would facilitate. But all of this... that was a tangent, a variant. Was the question I really had that really no one talked about is, so Sylvie killed this dude, right? But Loki had already left. Sylvie killed him. She's in this castle at the end of time with a very interesting paint job, and she has no Tim pad, or can she use his? You think? I didn't think about his.
I think she picked his up. She picked it up and started fiddling with it, did she?
Yeah,
I thought she did.
She blew up the ball. She started the thing, but then she stayed there, right?
Yeah, I'm going to have to go back and watch it again. I think what you're leading to there is we were talking about cliffhangers, unresolved plot threads. What happened to this character? What happened to that character? What in the world happened to Sylvie, a.k.a. Variant Loki, number 6,432, right? What's going to happen to her, and so clearly we're getting a season 2. Yep,
a different director. The director said it was a lot of fun, but she didn't even know they were doing a season 2 till they put it in the title card. She's like, "Oh, okay, have fun. I don't want to do it again."
Oh wow.
Well, it's harder. It's harder when it's one director. Even Game of Thrones, when they did a 6-episode season, they had 3 directors. Each one directed 2 episodes. So, the quality.
Well, I think
is great,
mentioned that.
But
I mentioned that before about some of the Marvel stuff where you get different directors, or Disney Plus rather. If I'm not mistaken, WandaVision had different directors working on different episodes. The Mandalorian was the one that really sprung to mind.
Are great. I mean, Taika Waititi was a director.
Right.
People have been really.
You do notice that if you look really sharply, and I mean, the different episodes have a different tone. They broke that trend with Falcon and Winter Soldier. We mentioned that there was the same director, and the name is just right on the tip of my tongue. I'll have to look it up. Can't remember it, but having the same director so that the whole show has a very contiguous, unified feel and tone, so that the whole thing, you can watch the entire thing back to back to back to back to back, and it feels like a very long movie rather than episodes. So this show definitely felt more like episodes, for sure, even though not that much time passed. From the beginning of this show until the events of the finale, a week went by, or we don't know.
Well, I don't know. But he got his suit or his shirt, his button-up shirt and his tie, so I don't know how much time passed before they really started going to work with his, when it went from episode 1 to 2 or 2 to whenever that happened. That might have been some time.
Yeah.
Kind of like in The Empire Strikes Back. How much time was Luke on Dagobah?
Yeah, exactly. It's an unanswerable question.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're going to get all of these characters back, presumably, right? I don't know if you have heard any scuttlebutt at all. Have they even started filming it? Pre-production, I don't know if there's any news out there about that, but I'm sure it'll start to trickle out once they do. Really look forward
at this
to that.
Point, that is, they wanted to, it had probably been greenlit in meetings. This is just to be tinfoil hatting what happened. They greenlit it in meetings, talked to, Kevin Feige was like, you want to do this? They probably talked to Hiddleston and Owen Will and the cast. They probably already knew. I think this was all happened after they had wrapped and after post-production when they decided to do this. And before it got leaked, they were able to pop it in that credit as a surprise.
Sure.
So,
well,
I don't think it's gone beyond a boardroom at this point, I would think.
What we do have coming, we talked briefly about What If. That's the next thing to look forward to here in, about 3 weeks, 4 weeks?
Yep.
And then, presumably, if the release dates are to be believed, before the end of the year, we are getting Hawkeye.
Yeah.
Which is, we mentioned in the last episode, definitely some tie-ins from the Black Widow show. And, correct me if I'm wrong, the Miss Marvel show is slated for release before the end of the year.
Oh, I haven't heard about that. I think they're filming She-Hulk, but that's
the Kamala Khan show. Yeah,
isn't
the She-Hulk's
Isn't Matt Murdock going to be in that? Because she's a lawyer. I know the Hulk is in some form, Bruce Banner or whatever.
Yeah, Mark Ruffalo will be in that show. Yeah, he is. He is contracted. He's on board with that show. And Tim Roth, as you pointed out with that scene, Shang-Chi, Tim Roth is going to reprise his role as the Abomination.
Uh-oh. He just turned green.
I did?
Yep.
Oh, someone's calling me. That's what I get for using my phone as a camera.
I'm leaving this part.
Okay, well.
So, through the magic of editing, I'm pretty sure we're seamlessly to where we are right now. Talking about what was coming up, we were pretty excited about. I don't know. For me, the Hawkeye, I kind of feel the same as I did for Black Widow. I kind of like superpowers and such. So, we'll see. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see how it starts looking when there's some trailers that I'm not like, woohoo! I'm more like, okay, it's something. It'll probably be good. It generally is, as long as Jeremy Renner, stays off social media or whatever he gets in trouble for usually. She-Hulk sounds like it'll be a lot of fun. It's a really interesting story. She's a lawyer and a Hulk. So that'll be cool. And you were mentioning Tim Roth is definitely... Did you find out anything about Tim Roth actually being back? Because that's what you were saying before you turned green.
What's the date of this? Oh, we are getting a Secret Invasion show on Disney, but that's announced, but there's no motion on it yet. Secret Invasion storyline. This the date of this was released April 23rd, 2021. And what it says is that
whatever it is, I love me some Tim Roth.
That Tim Roth will reprise his role as the Abomination in this show.
Isn't he? Oh, that's right. I remember that now. But isn't he stuck as the Abomination? Can he not? He can't turn back into a human.
Presumably, yeah.
Oh, well, I guess we'll find out. And also from Disney is the Star Wars side of things. We're going to finally have some of that to talk about around Christmas time. The Book of Boba Fett is still slated for, I believe, something like December 21. And these are all things, they're filming them in that, it's a large sound stage, and the walls have been covered with LED, like 360-degree screen. They use it in The Mandalorian, and I can never remember what it's called. And it's just like you click a button and you have your set. And so they're able to film these things like The Mandalorian and Book of Boba Fett and They used it for the Millennium Falcon scenes in Solo. So that's why the actors were all like, because they could actually see the hyperspace and all of this stuff. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, Mandalorian Season 3 is rumored to be filming starting like now.
Okay.
Pedro Pascal is finishing up the Last of Us, which is based on a video game that I've heard is really good, but I've never tried. So zombie video games scare me. I'm kind of a lightweight. So those things are all in the pipe. I'm going to be interested to see if they're going to dare to attempt the Mandalorian without Grogu. Because that just seems like a bad idea.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I think he'll pop back up, even if he's not in every episode. He's out there stealing eggs somewhere. Eggs aren't going to steal themselves.
Grogu.
Yeah.
Well, this is definitely not for you, buddy. Now Grogu's on my desk. But it's, they're doing an Ahsoka show. Maybe that's where Grogu might show up.
Okay.
Ahsoka was awesome. That's like one of my favorite things that's happened in The Mandalorian. When she showed up and was like running across rooftops fighting with the double lightsabers, I actually went back and watched that last season of Clone Wars. And
Rosario Dawson is just a badass. I'm just going to say that right now.
Yeah.
She's amazing.
Her in Daredevil. I love her in Daredevil.
Well, I think maybe we can, as in trying to come close to wrapping this up, I think we can definitely promise folks that as that show approaches a season 3 of Mandalorian, and we may do a few episodes where I think we will definitely switch gears into just full-on Lucas verse.
Actually, our next episode will probably consist of... I'm going to see about reading The Watchmen this week, finally.
Okay.
I'm almost done with Dune. But even then, The Green Knight is out very soon. I don't know if it's before our next episode. Is it? Is this one only in theaters, or is this one also streaming somewhere as well that I can rent it? Do you know?
It's probably only in theaters, but we'll have to look and see. Yeah, I
may have to. I don't know. I don't even know if it's a wide release on its initial date. A25
might not be
smaller. But if that's a thing, then that's something we might.
It's coming to my town, then it's coming just about everywhere.
Well, yeah, I could go to Springfield. It's just all right. So, we're definitely going to be branching out now that stuff is coming out again. That's not Marvel or Zack Snyder's Justice League. So,
in the meantime. Exercise your free will with impunity, because you have no longer any fear that you will be pruned and become a variant. So just do whatever feels good. Do what feels right.
And you know what would feel good? To like and subscribe and tell all your friends about us.
That is a perfect example.
Oh, man. Okay, so next episode, we got to talk about Deadpool and Korg. I'm going to leave it there. Deadpool and Korg. When are we getting that Disney Plus team-up show? Make it happen. Deadpool and the Adventures of Deadpool and Korg. Yeah. That is the best commercial I've ever seen, except that I don't remember at all. It was for the Free Guy. So Deadpool and Korg, we will break that down and talk about that. I love that Taika Waititi always says it's movie's the first thing they've ever worked in together in, him and Ryan Reynolds. He was in the Green Lantern. So they're always like, we've never known each other before. Anyway, so like and subscribe. Do whatever you want, because you don't have to worry about being pruned as long as it's not illegal. And rescue a pup. Yeah. Rescue a dog. There you go. They're very cute. Dogs.
All right.
Okay. That was ComposerScape. Scott's got shit to do. We'll see you next time.